Good morning, children. Today we will again do literary devices, and the poem which we will do today firstly is the ball poem. Now, in this poem, you will see that there are not many literary devices in the whole poem. First of all, come to the first line of the poem. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? See, in this whole line, see the words boy, now, who, and lost. You will see that the alphabet O is being repeated again and again. So, the literary device used in this whole line is, in these words, the literary device used is assonance. You can keep writing in the book itself. Then come to the second line. What is he to do? Now see, the word what is repeated just one after the other. So the literary device used here is anaphora. Then come to the next line. Merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. Again the word merrily and merrily is used in two lines consecutively. So again the literary device used is anaphora. Then come to this line where it's written, a dime, another ball is worthless. In this whole line, the literary device used is ascenditon. Ascenditon. You can write the spelling. You have not studied this till now. ASYNDETON. ASYNDETON. Ascenditon. The meaning, it means that in this line there is no conjunction used. Ascenditon is that literary device where no conjunction is used in the whole sentence. So in this sentence, if you see, a dime, another ball is worthless. There is no conjunction used in this sentence. So the literary device used will be called as ascenditon. Then come to this line, and no one buys a ball back. In this, buys a ball back. See, the alphabet B is being repeated again and again. So it is alliteration. Then again come to the next line. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. In this, if you notice, the alphabet E is repeated so many times. In learning, then in well, then in behind, then desperate, and then eyes. So the literary device used is assonance. The alphabet E is being repeated. I am quickly telling once again which literary device is used in which sentence in this poem. See, in the first line, assonance, because the alphabet O is repeated. Boy, now, who, lost. Then in the second line, what, the word what is repeated just one after the other, and in the next line the word merrily is repeated consecutively in two lines. So when the words are repeated like this, then the literary device is called as anaphora. Then a dime, another ball is worthless. Here no conjunction is used at all in this whole sentence. So the literary device is called as ascenditon. Then come to this line, and no one buys a ball. In this buys a ball, the alphabet B is repeated so many times. So the literary device is alliteration. Then in the next line, learning well behind desperate eyes. Alphabet E, vowel E is being repeated. So the literary device is assonance. So these are the literary devices used in the poem, the ball poem. Now I am moving on to page 61 of our reader textbook, and we will see in the poem Amanda which literary devices are used where. Let us start from the first stanza. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Don't. The word don't is repeated in first line also, it is used in the second line also. So when the words are repeated at the starting of a line, when the words are repeated at the starting of the line, then the literary device is called as anaphora. Then again, in the second line, don't and your, in these two words, and even in the word shoulders, the alphabet O is repeated, and since it is a vowel which is being repeated, the alphabet O is being repeated, so the literary device used is called as assonance. Then stop that slouching and sit up straight. In this, see alphabet S, it is being repeated so many times. Okay, so when S is repeated at the start of the closely related words, then the literary device called will be alliteration. Then come to the next stanza. There is a languid emerald sea. Emerald is a green colored precious stone. So here the sea, the green sea has been compared to emerald. So the literary device used here is metaphor. Emerald sea, in this metaphor, is the literary device. Then come to the third line of the same stanza. A mermaid drifting blissfully. Mermaid is an imaginary character, and that is why the literary device used here is allusion. When we use imaginary characters, when we imagine and compare it with some character, then it is called allusion. ALLUSION. Then, did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? See, the word did is used at the starting of the line, and when we use the words in the starting of the line, when they are repeated, it is called anaphora. So, the literary device used here is anaphora. I am repeating quickly in the first and the second stanzas. In the first and the second line, the word don't is repeated in the beginning, so the literary device is anaphora. Then in the second line, alphabet O is repeated in don't, your and shoulders. So the literary device is assonance. Then again in the next line, the alphabet S is repeated in stop, slouching, sit and straight. So when the alphabet is repeated at the start of closely related words, then the literary device is called as alliteration. Then in the next stanza, the emerald sea. Here the literary device is metaphor, because the sea which is the emerald, which is green in color, sea is being compared to emerald. The green sea is being compared to emerald. So the literary device is metaphor. Then here in the next line, mermaid. Mermaid shows allusion as a literary device, because mermaid is an imaginary character. Then in the next two lines, did you finish your homework? Did you tidy your room? Did is repeated at the start of the lines, so the literary device is anaphora. Now come to the next stanza. Third line. The silence is golden. Here the literary device used is metaphor. Silence is being compared to glorious golden color. Silence is compared to glorious golden color. Golden color is considered to be a color of beauty, a color of glory. So silence is being compared to golden color. That is why the literary device used here is metaphor. Then see the second last line of the same page. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to you? Now see how many times alphabet U, alphabet O, alphabet E, especially O and E. See how many times they are repeated. Look at O and look at E in the whole sentence, and you will see that it has been used so many times. So the literary device used will be called as assonance, since O and E are repeated. Come to the next page. I am Rapunzel. I have not a care. I am Rapunzel. Rapunzel here again is a character of the fairy tale. So when we imagine any such kind of character, then the literary device used is allusion. ALLUSION. I have not a care. In this and in Rapunzel, R alphabet is repeated. In Rapunzel and in care, R alphabet is repeated. So the literary device will be called as consonance. Then come to the last stanza. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. See here S is being repeated in stop and sulking. So when words are repeated like this, either just one after the other, two words one after the other, or in between one or two words again they are repeated, then it is called as alliteration. So here when words are closely repeated words are placed closely to one another, it is called alliteration. So I am repeating the literary device in this stanza and in the last stanza. Rapunzel, it is allusion. The literary device is allusion because it is a fairy tale character. Then R is repeated in Rapunzel and in care, so the literary device is consonance. Then in the last stanza, alphabet S is repeated, stop S, sulking S, that is why it is the literary device is alliteration. Now I am moving on to page number 83. Page number 83, the poem is Animals. Now see, in this poem there are many literary devices here and there. Let us start from the first stanza. First stanza, which begins with I think, and the last three words are long and long. Here see, in this first stanza, the literary device firstly used is assonance, because I think I could turn. I is repeated and I is a vowel, so when the use of a vowel is being repeated again and again, then the literary device is assonance. Then in the same stanza, I is used at the start of two consecutive lines. See the first line and the second line. I think I could turn, then I stand and look at them. I and I are being repeated like this, so in two consecutive lines. So the literary device used here is anaphora. Then come to the second stanza. In the second stanza, the stanza begins with they do not sweat and it ends with owning things. The first literary device used is anaphora, repeat of words at the beginning of two lines. See, in the first line and in the second line of the second stanza, they do not sweat, they do not lie, they do not, they do not. Words are repeated at the beginning of the two lines. So when you see such words repeated at the start of the two lines, beginning of the two lines, it will come under anaphora as the literary device. Then metaphor is the second literary device used in this stanza. See this line. First line. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. In this sweat and whine are the words where metaphor is the literary device used. Sweat and whine are being compared to the cries and complaints of human beings. Sweat and whine are being compared to the cries and complaints of human beings. So a comparison is made between the cries and complaints of human beings, and whenever we make a comparison like this, indirect comparison, then the literary device is called as metaphor. Then come to the third stanza. In the third stanza, it begins with not one kneels and it finishes with the word possession. Here the literary device used is metaphor. In this, literary device used is metaphor. Inner qualities of humans are compared to tokens. See in the second last line. They bring me tokens of myself. Tokens here means what? Hidden qualities, inner qualities of human beings. So here human qualities are being compared with tokens. That is why the literary device used here is metaphor. And in the last two lines there is no literary device used. So this is about these three poems. Not many literary devices are there. Just you have to do one thing I told in my previous video also. You must know the meaning of each literary device. What is meant by assonance, what is consonance, what is alliteration, what is anaphora. When you know these definitions properly, it is a kind of definition only. When you know their meaning properly, then you can easily identify if consonant words are being repeatedly used, that means they are if vowels are being repeatedly used, they are assonance. When consonants are repeatedly used, they are consonants. Then enjambment, when a sentence is continuing to the next line without any punctuation marks. When comparisons are made but indirect comparison, then metaphor. When the human qualities are being something inanimate objects are being given human qualities, then then it is called personification. And what else we have done? Oxymoron, the use of adjectives which are opposite in their meanings, like quiet, rage, we have done in Tiger in the Zoo. Then we have done alliteration so many times. What is alliteration? In alliteration, the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning or closely connected words. The occurrence of the same letter or same sound at the beginning of the adjacent or closely related words. Then we have done something which we are missing, imagery. It is used when readers perceive or imagine something. It is imagery. What is anaphora? Repetition of a word or an expression at the start of two or more consecutive lines. When some word or a group of words are repeated, I think, if it is repeated in two lines consecutively, then it is called as anaphora. So you should know the literary device, you should know their meanings. If you know the meaning properly, then you can easily identify whether we have a particular literary device in a particular line or not. Now we are left with only one poem to discuss literary devices, that is Tale of the Custard Dragon, I think. Let me check once, children. Just wait. Yes, the Tale of Custard the Dragon. So in very soon I will discuss the literary devices of this poem also, and then all poems literary devices will be discussed. So keep on revising things. Literary devices you will have to learn. Which literary device is there in which line, in which poem, this you will have to learn. Okay, so revise, and if you have any query, if you have any doubt, then very soon I will take a live class. In that you can ask your doubts. Thank you, children.